Hello and welcome on this Remembrance Sunday to the Nottingham Hockey Centre, the home of the famous Beeston Hockey Club, who welcome today Reading for this Premier League encounter. Well, with the winter break rapidly now approaching, all the Premier sides are jostling for positions to put themselves in good shape for the league run-in in the new year. Both Beeston and Reading have sights on one of the top four places, which of course forms the playoff quartet. A Beeston win would see them move 6 points clear of the ding, but if the Berkshire boys can spring a surprise, then a win for them today would see them draw level on points with the Bees. Both sides drew last weekend, Beeston 2-2 with an improving Wimbledon, while Reading couldn't score against a traditionally porous Sevenoaks defence and had to be content with a goalless draw there. With Surbiton, Hampstead and Westminster and Holcombe setting the early pace, Beeston cannot afford to let them get away so early in the season. Reading, who are still looking upwards in the table, will also be aware that they are not alone in hoping for a top four side finish. And any slip up here would severely dent their chances and give fresh hope to East Grinstead, who also have 10 points, and with Wimbledon returning to some sort of form, they can still have a say on who makes the top four. Well, sitting alongside me is Steve Musson. Steve, lovely day here for a game of hockey, and two sides eager to get this one underway.
Yes, good afternoon, Nick. It certainly is a lovely day. I mean, it's a bit blustery, so it'll be interesting to see how the sides communicate. They're going to have to shout a bit louder today, I think, to make each other heard. And it is quite an interesting game because, as you say, the position of the teams, 3 points apart at this stage of the season, means that both sides know that a win today changes the focus for them. Certainly from Beeston's point of view, they won't want to lose touch with the top three teams at this part of the season. And Reading know full well that points for them today, 3 points for them today, put them into the top half of the league and give them a real chance to move on up.
Both sides having to cope today with absences and injuries, and we'll refer to some of those perhaps as the game goes on. But plenty to play for. Beeston against Reading gets underway at 2 o'clock.
Now up to Beeston to join up with BTV with Slough the visitors. The home side were looking increasingly comfortable with life in the Premier League after a tough start to the season. Slough had also picked up a moral boosting first win in the campaign last week against Holcombe.
Here we go again for corner number 3 in quick succession for Slough. Played in, trapped, again out to the left hand side, reverse ball, pops up into the air, not quite away. And it's another corner for the visitors. That's 4 in relatively quick succession. It's played in, it's out to the right hand side this time. This is something new, played towards the goal, and it's up and into the goal. It's Slough that have the lead. That pressure finally told. This is the replay for the goal out to the right hand side. Emma O'Neill. Ball play forward, it's been picked off by Beeston. Forward again quite quickly. Out to the left hand side where the Bees have had quite a bit of joy so far. In towards the D, flicked up, and can this be a shot on goal? It is driven towards the goal, diving low. The goalkeeper stops that one. It's gone to the edge, it's been trapped. And hit first time, oh, just wide. Good effort from the Bees. It's trapped this time. It's towards the goal, and goalkeeper Miller Welsh goes low to her right to flip the ball away from. She will be involved. It's been trapped. Hanks again slips it back, and it's towards the goal. It's trickled over, and surely, oh my word, it's just wide. Just wide. Sophie Robinson just couldn't direct the ball on target from a few feet away. And Beeston get a chance to catch their breath and play the ball out of defence. More pace this time from Beeston as they're into the final third of the field and into the D this time. And a shot. Oh, what a cracking save. Mila Welch diving to her right to block the shot. And that was involved again. I think that was Rosie Stevens, was it not?
Alice Huddleston.
Alice Huddleston. Let's see this again on the replay. The players really Hanks drives it into the goal. Equalising goal for Beeston. No doubt about that one. Carrie Hanks. Third goal of the season. So dangerous from a corner.
On Apple TV, on the BTV app. So we are on television.
That's another good stop. And to play the ball in is Captain Bex Walker. We are in beyond the end of the game. It's taken, it's in, and Hanks. Oh, what a great save by Miller Welsh. Not only saving the goal, but also saving the points for her team. It's all over here. It's Beeston 1, Slough 1.
When you succeed,
We succeed.
so we listen.
We tailor.
And we invest in you.
We are innovators.
We deliver results.
And world-class service.
We are always developing.
Learning and growing.
And getting better at what we do.
Supporting your business.
We make technology effortless.
And more than just a means to an end.
We're the team who serve.
And advise you.
All to help you achieve.
And surpass your goals.
We're super.
We're honest.
And go the extra mile.
We're winners.
And team players.
And together,
We're the managed service provider.
We're Air IT.
We're Air IT.
we're Air IT.
You're number one for IT and comms.
So the two teams out there on the field warming up ahead of this one. They'll take some warming up today, Steve, as well. It's quite chilly and blustery despite the bright conditions. Now, we talked a little bit about players returning, and Beeston will be delighted to see Ollie Willars back in the squad today.
Yes, that's right. I think Ollie will be looking forward to playing today. He's obviously had a slight change of activity with his England stuff at the moment, so he'll be glad to get a game under his belt, I'm sure. But certainly his presence in Beeston's defence will be a plus for us today. On the other side of the equation, we've lost Robbie Gleeson in the midfield, who's injured his back last week against Wimbledon and has struggled to get fit for today's game. So Stephen Wood will have some adjustments to make in the midfield, I think, today.
Yes, I think also Reading have got Jack Clee coming back into the equation, having suffered a head injury and concussion issues. But he's back for them today. And, well, it shapes up very nicely, the way the league is set. I was surprised that Reading didn't get the better of Sevenoaks last weekend.
I think that's right. It is interesting, but Sevenoaks can be a tricky setup. And if they get organised on a day, then they can be as difficult to beat as any of the teams. And obviously it was one of those situations where, despite the corners that Reading had won, they couldn't actually get the result.
Some big games today. Holcombe taking on Surbiton. That game starts the same time that we're to get underway at 2 o'clock. And also East Grinstead against Wimbledon. Wimbledon coming back after a pretty near disastrous start to the season.
It's strange how they've started this and last season was exactly the same. It took them a while to get going. I've got them marked as a wild card on my league list because obviously the league splits itself at the moment very conveniently into thirds. But Wimbledon sat there in the bottom three at the moment. I don't expect to see them stay there for long. Beeston had a tricky game against them last week, and I think they were pleased to come away with a 2-2 draw.
Well, the fixtures coming thick and fast now in the run-up to Christmas. Beeston take on Holcombe next weekend. and that's here. And then they have to travel to Surbiton on the 24th of November. So still plenty to look forward to before the Christmas shopping. The World Cup absentees really don't know what they're missing, Steve.
No, absolutely right. Although there's always a bit of nervousness around that game against Surbiton away, because that's been a shocking place for Beeston to visit over the years. So hopefully we'll have some good luck today and next week and set ourselves up well for a trip down to Surbiton then.
Well, the two captains out there, and those hockey followers may well recognise our two match umpires there, Dan Barstow and Lee Barron. Lee with keeping his jacket on. Dan Barstow, being a tough northern boy, is showing off his tanned arms, a little more tanned after the Men's World Cup. I'm not sure how good a preparation this will be climatically for the World Cup. Yes, chilly, Dan, isn't it? So the two sides will come out, and we're going to be observing a 2-minute silence at the start of this game, as befits the day, of course. We're just waiting for the signal. Beeston's youngsters have already had training sessions this morning, during which time a silence was observed.
Gentlemen, please welcome visitors Reading, and let's hear it for the hosts, your Beeston Hockey Club.
So here they come, led out by the two umpires. Reading, of course, in those light blue tops. And as I said, we will be observing 2 minutes of silence, and we will be observing that on air as well, as we remember those that leave never to return, and those who return but are never the same. And we join Hockey for Heroes and clubs all across Europe, and indeed across a grateful world, in remembrance. We will remember.
In this year, that the 2 minutes of silence became part of the observations of Armistice Day. The first minute is respect for those that died in the conflict, and the second for those that are left behind. Since that first Armistice Day, 99 years ago, many more of the servicemen and women who have served their country in hours of need have not returned home. On this and every Remembrance Sunday, we will remember them.
So beautifully observed silence there, as we would have expected, of course, and the two sides now respectfully shaking hands at the start of this game, and will shortly be underway. Absolutely critical game then for Beeston to keep in touch with that top group that Steve was talking us through. Reading, well, they will still be looking up, but they'll also be mindful of what's happening beneath them, whereas will also be unseemly jostling for places to avoid the trapdoor. Reading, a club with a huge hockey tradition, surely have too much to see themselves involved in a relegation dogfight. But you've got to put sides away, and last week's draw with Sevenoaks will be a disappointing result for them.
I think also, Nick, they'll be keen to deal with the goals against tally, because they're sort of pushing towards that horrible 3 goals against each game, and that's something they'll be very mindful of today, I'm sure. And it's certainly one of the things that the Beeston coaches talked about this week in terms of how Beeston might set up against them. Looking at the video analysis, they possibly a little bit narrow in their pressing, which might give Beeston the opportunity to attack down the flanks. So I don't think we'll see Beeston stay with a back 4 for long. And they'll try and keep that pressure on that we've seen in previous matches for a long period of time.
And goals for Beeston, Steve. Elliot Hybel's been a real surprise package.
Yes, he was emerging as much as 2-3 years ago as a player, but as we mentioned before, he's had a series of injuries. But touch wood, he's through that, working very hard on his corner flicking. But he also scores from open play, which is a great bonus for the team at the moment.
Well, last time you and I were sitting together, he put away 2 corners in almost identical fashion.
He did.
Cut right in the bottom corner. You can replicate that sort of form. It'll take some goalkeeping to stop him.
Yes, and they have looked at the Reading keeper's position and the lines of running that Reading adopt at penalty corner defence. And they spent a bit of time on that on Tuesday night this week, so it's something that's in their minds.
Well, there certainly aren't any surprises in the world of hockey these days. The clubs are just as professional in their approach to their opponents as are the international teams, who of course have been looking at those sort of things for many years. But clubs have played catch up and in some cases almost lead the way. Oh, the loose one out to this near side, a little bit of a bobble on the pitch. It's blustery. We've had heavy overnight rain throughout the Midlands. But fortunately for the match, forecast is for it to remain dry but very windy. So as you were saying, if you're going to call for the ball, you need to make sure it's heard.
Shout a bit louder. It's interesting already, Beeston of making use of James Aubrey in the midfield. Normally would play probably from right half. Played in the midfield against Wimbledon last week, but of course a little bit forced into that with the loss of Robbie Gleeson. James can play from either of those roles, but I do quite like to see him play from right half, so we'll see how he goes today.
Nicely weighted pass down towards that Reading baseline. 3D skills, taking it past the defender. Whistle's gone though. Dunbarster just stopping the timer here. I think we've got a little bit of a goalkeeping problem with a piece of equipment. What's he forgotten? Or is a strap pop loose?
Something's broken.
Sometimes the poppers on the helmets can be a problem, but no, he's going for the pad.
Yeah.
Very early in the game for that to have happened.
It's all about preparation.
So some running repairs down there.
Beeston's style over the last 2 or 3 games has been to play at a pretty high tempo, and the work that they've done through the midfield has been important in sort of developing that counter-attack play. Robbie Gleeson was quite important to that, so it would be interesting to see if James Aubrey plays in the same style. There he is.
As if on cue.
Of course, he scored the equaliser late on in the game against Wimbledon last week from his midfield role, so a bit of form.
Chris Wyver just appearing at the top of your screen there, getting back into goal. Running repairs have been affected. If there was a strap working loose, very sensible he takes the time to get it sorted out. Don't want that sort of issue to be preying on your mind, trying to make it last till half time. Far cry from the old days of leather straps and buckles.
We know what a strange breed keepers are, don't we? They need to be
careful.
Careful with that.
Amazing how many goalkeepers have actually taken up positions of I won't say authority, but hard working position within clubs. You've got to be very keen to be a goalkeeper.
Yes.
And you're a goalkeeper for life, of course.
You often understand a lot about the game because you spend your life watching the width of it and understanding how defensive lines particularly should work.
Well, it's the best position for us to see that. That's why goalkeepers who can communicate is so important. A lovely skill.
Position.
Ball pull across, diving save there by Wyver. Got to stick to the ball, deflected away from danger. Important intervention there so early in the game.
That exit position from the D always interests me. When crosses are deflected or touched, they tend to come out on that shoulder of the D, and teams are not very good at getting a player in there because an open opportunity for shots there if you can pick the ball up on the edge of the D there.
Lovely trap there from Reading. Sideline ball using a very well judged aerial right to the far side of the circle. First real attack this, and a good save there from Simon Hudgewell in the Beeston net there. First real attack that Reading can be able to put together, coming very close.
It's not often that Simon Hudgewell gets in the game early, really, so that'll probably be helpful for him just to get his first touch. Clear Reading mean business. The aerial across the D. It's a pretty dangerous manoeuvre for them.
I was speaking to a couple of their management team before the start of this game about what went wrong against Sevenoaks, and there was much puzzlement on their faces, much shaking of heads. Just one of those things, I think.
Such a peculiar weekend for results as well, with
bizarre
four draws. It was nearly the 5 draws. If it hadn't been for a late goal by Holcombe against the University of Exeter, it would have been the full set.
Good work from Sutcliffe down the right-hand side. Here he is again.
Very organised Reading. Already you can see how they're set up defensively.
Many changes to their squad from last season, and indeed the season before that. This new breed trying to bed in, trying to keep those strong club traditions going.
And of course with Jason Lee's role in this as well, he'll definitely have put the organisation into it. Oh.
Good pace from Beeston. Oh! Ball played quickly. Well trapped by Reading. Ball worked to that right-hand side over into the shadows.
Joe Sharp in the middle of the park there. He scored a goal last weekend against Wimbledon, so he's in decent form himself.
Wouldn't describe him as the free scoring Joe
No,
Sharp,
not at
though,
all.
would you?
No, it was a big surprise to everybody that he did score, but he was very pleased to have done it anyway.
But you'll take it.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's a lovely run.
Chris Proctor's got some super skills, particularly 3D skills in positions like that. It's, I think he's capable of getting more goals than he does in actual fact.
Quite an open game at the moment, Steve.
Yeah, it is. It's a few unnecessary turnovers. It's, Reading coping well with any of the Beeston attacks.
Reading leaving the free hit, moving further players forward. A little slip, just lets Beeston in on the ball again. Nicely won back.
Nick Park did quite well there until that final part of that. Of course, he was an or a former Reading player. Joined us this year.
Couple of bounces on the ball, take it over the baseline and harmlessly out of play, so Reading can reset from the back. Space on the left-hand side.
Not a clean passing game yet, I don't think, from either side, but pretty competitive.
I think points in every game this season are going to have to be a hard one.
Yes.
To the way it's shaping up, the huge gaps that have been there perhaps in previous seasons are not so evident this year, and the non-availability of some of the international players, of course, just testing club squads rather than just the normal starting 16.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's manifested itself last week in the draws, but you're looking at the top 6 clubs within 7 points of each other, and results changing things quite dramatically, particularly when you get a weekend where there's draws like that. It means that nobody had really escaped as they would want to do, and it means that the 3 sides in the second third of the league at the moment are in close proximity to the top.
Ball bouncing around dangerously into the area. The goalkeeper cleared it and cleared it well. Beeston trying to keep the tempo high.
Reading cutting off the lines of play very, very well indeed. This is very dangerous.
Problems here. Hudge-one's come out and he's missed it, but the whistle's gone. I think there was a little kick on the way through there, but must have been a worrying moment there for Simon Hudge-one. Lee Barron right on the spot.
Nicely played out by Reading.
Reading going for it here. Long corner.
Well, to keep his feet out of the way there, Stephen Lawrence.
Reading thought about firing one to the circle, but going for the more conservative option in the end.
Nice connecting play there by those two, Nick Park and Elliot Hybel.
Reading had numbers back. Reading were one of the first of the English clubs to invest in a water-based artificial turf back in the 1980s.
Yes.
The Heineken Astor, as it was called.
Oh, that's right.
I believe
yes.
you meant to put water on it, but obviously other fluids are acceptable as well. I wonder what they think of the FIH rule that very soon international hockey won't need to be played on water-based pitches.
Well, to some extent, it's been talked about for a couple of years now. You can understand in some countries why it's very difficult anyway to deal with the water supplies necessary.
Not in Beeston.
Not at Beeston.
Not today, anyway. It'd be quite a problem, I think, for the industry to come up with a surface that allows the skills that we've come to enjoy to be played on a surface that doesn't have water upon it. And Beeston have won their first penalty corner here with a really good attack down the right-hand side. Didn't seem to be too much danger at this point. Just jostled really out of position.
Reading packing their defence and very difficult to find a way through and space for shots. So, but there is then of course the risk that you can get hit on the feet, as happened there.
So the first penalty corner. Beeston considering what they might produce here. High ball number 12. We've already remarked about his success a couple of weeks ago when we were here last. Not him this time though. Shot comes in. And it's wide.
Wide from the start of the flick.
So a sighter then for Beeston, perhaps a little let off for Reading as well. They didn't at least make the keeper produce the save.
I have to say, the Reading players are picking up these quick release balls really well, keeping the possession tight.
Yes, they're not here to make the numbers up, that's for sure, and they will have studied the league table with almost as much thoroughness as you, Stephen. They'll realise just how important today is. They'll know that Beeston, without several of their sort of big named players, are perhaps an easier prospect they might have been on another day, certainly in another season. A win today for Reading would make last week's draw with Sevenoaks a little more acceptable.
If you
Even
pick
if a little more frustrating.
I was going to say, if you pick up 4 points from 2 games at any phase of the...
That's pretty good. Yeah, you should take that,
league, it works very well for you.
It's asking a lot of Nick Park to chase that one down, but willing shilling that he is, he's done just that. Turns and fires one towards the Reading circle.
Again, Reading comfortable on defence, nice and low, nice and calm. Quite evenly balanced this game at the moment, I think, Nick.
Yes, it's everything I hoped it might be, to be honest with you. I looked at the Reading team sheet and, well, you always look to see where Richard Mantell's playing.
Yes, that's right.
But those names, those sort of names have belonged to a bygone era now, as far as Reading concerned. The new breed have got big shoes to fill, literally and metaphorically.
Well, the one thing you know about Reading is that they're actually a very experienced club, and whatever's happening with the team, they're able to cover for what they think might be changes, or maybe sort of the same quality that they've had in the past. But they certainly know how to work it all out.
Yes, they're ambitious, very well run club, as of course are Beeston, who've been away in Rotterdam this week for a two-day meeting with other top European sides. They've formed a little, almost a cartel of clubs who are looking to develop the game throughout Europe, involving the Erasmus programme. Wonderful that Beeston are involved in that. Doesn't surprise me at all that they continue to push the envelope. Ball fired across the circle.
Again, it's found its way out the other side of the D, which is a bit of a shame, but Beeston's still in possession.
Reading escaping again. Nice turn inside and obstructed there.
Reading will be looking now, I think, for this through this higher pitch transfer. They'll be looking for their first corner probably about this stage of the game. Beeston need to be sharp and focused in defence.
Reading just sitting off here, allowing Beeston possession in their own 23. That's patient.
Well, I was just thinking, Beeston would like to be a bit more progressive than this, but Reading aren't letting them. Their press is quite disciplined.
It's a lovely route one pass forward. Reading have got the marking right. Umpire awarding Beeston a free hit just outside the circle here. Bit of trickery on the ball and almost a chance there for a snapshot. The whistle already gone. Beeston's ladies first team had an excellent win yesterday on the road down at Canterbury. Making a good fist of their return to the
yeah, I was going to say it's
Premier League.
Good start for them, really, to find themselves into 5th slot and a good points tally.
A rare defeat yesterday for Surbiton ladies as well, going down to Holcombe by the only goal of the game. So the Investec Ladies League, just like the Men's League, creating a few surprises and looking very, very tight in these early skirmishes. Reading falling very deep.
Carl Marshall finding a good forward pass. So easy to lose a bit of momentum, and it often comes down to a missed trap or a missed pass. Relatively simple pass through to Chris Proctor, which he mistrapped. Now all of a sudden Beeston are back in the back 3-4, just waiting for another opportunity to build an attack.
Well, Beeston are certainly being patient here.
I think they've already realised they're not going to run roughshod over Reading here, and it's going to have to take a methodical approach to the game. Didn't look like it was ever going to work that aerial out of the D, did it?
From the point of view of the receiver, no.
James Sutcliffe was saying thank you all the way.
Yes, I suspect not. It had little to commend it, I have to say, that particular pass. Now Reading trying the luck down the left-hand side, firing one into the mix.
I think that's hit a foot, yeah.
It has hit a foot, absolutely spot on. And it'll be a first penalty corner of the game now for the Ding.
This is the difficulty with cagey games like this, because you have to be absolutely ready in the D, because teams are going to look for the corners as their way to get the goals when it's as tightly marked in defence as it has been.
Two players coming together there. So the first penalty corner of the game as far as Reading are concerned. The other end we've seen Beeston fire their first one wide to the keeper's left-hand side.
Reading have scored twice from corners in their tally of 11 goals so far, so they'll be looking to increase that.
Charlie Ellison looks like the main man here, hunched over his stick, left-hand castle as we look down at them. It's gone to the
quick injection.
Slipped to him, but the shot again wide.
Didn't get hold of it, I don't think, did he?
No.
He was a chance to do that.
No, it wasn't what he was looking for. I still think there's a lot to be said for the first penalty corner being a nice simple one.
Just heard that Exeter have got a win against Sevenoaks today. So
Ah,
they'll be pleased
okay,
with that,
early
yeah.
start that one,
That
yes.
was, yes.
Yes. Well, Sevenoaks, who denied Reading a 3-point haul last week, were not able to do the same this week against the students from Exeter University. I didn't even notice the pigeon coming in through that window, Steve, with the message there, but that's why I left it open.
Yes.
This modern technology is
I know.
fantastic, isn't it? Beeston making hard work of getting the ball clear here. Reading having a good little spell here.
See, whereas Reading seems to be picking up the forward passes over distance, Beeston forwards aren't at the moment, and I think that's something they're going to have to improve. Good pressure, but Reading quite calm, find their way out.
Well, just about 12 minutes left in this one, still waiting for the first goal. I'm sure the Reading faithful, or the Beeston faithful rather, who came to watch their team today would have expected their team to be ahead by now, but as you said, Steve, it's turning into be a rather cagey affair here.
It is.
And one which could go either way.
Reading's retreat work into defensive shape has been good. It's not given any real counter-attack opportunities to Beeston, which we've seen Beeston be good at over the last few weeks. But there's none of that happening, so as you say, Nick, they've done their homework.
Well, any side that involves Jason Lee in its build-up is going to be a well-prepared side. There'll be no half measures with Jason.
I can hear Stephen Wood shouting on the side, so he's obviously feeling that Beeston aren't playing as well as he wants them to at the moment.
Is he a shouter?
Not normally. That's why I've just noticed.
Well,
it
it has more impact.
He normally just
if you're always shouting, I
prowls.
never think it has much of an impact, does
right.
it? Now, this is more like it for Beeston, now the left-hand side. Ball pulled across and straight through, and it's found a way back into the net,
I think
and
it's
Beeston
Elliot
have the
Highland
lead.
again.
Well, that was a lovely move. Didn't look particularly dangerous. Let's watch it again here down that left-hand side. Running a little short on
nice little
numbers
passing. Very good, very good. That's the first real time that Reading have not been able to keep a track of the runners.
Heibel just getting there in front of the goalkeeper and defender, and scoring at close range.
It's getting a bit greedy as Elliot, I think. Not that
Well,
I'm complaining.
No, I'm sure you're not, and I'm sure his coach won't be complaining either. Well taken goal, and it helps Beeston in the sense they were just looking a little bit uncertain about themselves. You spoke about their coach shouting, showing his displeasure.
They just weren't Beeston weren't finding any routes through the Reading defence, and that's the first time that that's really happened. But it had to be tight play, first time passing.
So Elliot Heibel turning into a goal machine.
Unnecessary turnover, I think, there from that was Lucas Ward. At least they've won the ball back.
That goal came with about 10 minutes left in the half. How Beeston would love to get a second before the half-time break. But Reading straight back on the front foot, trying to get themselves back on terms. Nicely taken
space
down.
again.
Here can Beeston again. Lovely flowing move. Final pass wasn't of the same quality though. Little mistake there from Nick Park.
I've been impressed with Nick since he joined. I knew he was a good player, but he's settled into the Beeston side really well. Hard worker, good skills.
Big day for him today, of course. If he scores, will he celebrate? That's the burning question, isn't it?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you? Reading trying to play the ball into a Beeston foot, but Beeston guarding those feet very well there. Space on the right-hand side for Reading.
Just feel the follow-up defender, when Beeston have made a tackle that still runs free, the follow-up defender's not quick enough from Beeston at the moment, leaving the ball loose for Reading, and they're taking advantage of that.
Ball fired out over the sidelines there. Reading's restart.
Difficult part of the pitch to get out of defensively, but they've done all right there, Beeston. Good setup again from Reading, straight away into shape. Surbiton are presently 2-1 up against Holcombe, Nick, just heard. About the same stage in the game.
Sounds like yes, that game started at the same time as ours, so yes, that's a few more goals than we've got here at the moment at the Nottingham Hockey Centre, where we're being starved a little bit. Just the single goal so far, scored by Elliot Hybel. Reading continue to set themselves up as an obstinate outfit here, and one with a little bit of a cutting edge as well. You feel there's a goal,
yes,
there's a goal in them.
That little connecting ball there, if that had been picked up by the forward, that would have been a shot, I'm sure. Very quick to press the right half. Matt Richard there closed down very quickly on Stephen Lawrence.
Umpire coming back to the original foul, which was the retreating Beeston defender's foot.
First cross of the game, really. Caused a bit of trouble. Defender not ready.
Reading again, trying to find something to get them back on terms. Just about 5 minutes left in this first half. Two very well matched teams indeed. Still just that single goal separating them.
Ollie Will, I was just seeing if he got a forward pass on there.
Willis must have been close to World Cup selection. How do you think he will take that disappointment?
I'm sure that he'll keep fighting away in the normal way. I've spoken to him today before the game, and he's quite philosophical about things. It won't stop his desire, and he was keen to get playing for Beeston, so a bit like James Aubrey was the other week.
It's always a good sign, I think. Reading picking the ball up in the shadows. quickly back into the sunshine, but it's Beeston who come away with the ball here. These last few minutes before half time. Beeston controlling things nicely at the back. They're not needing to pull up any trees. Happy to cling on to this advantage. Half time, still 3 minutes to go.
Yes, I'm glad they've worked out that they're going to have to be very particular about the build-up. So I don't think they can take too many risks with turnovers, certainly in the back four or in the middle of the park. It's very careful about possession. Loose from Stephen Lawrence there. Didn't pick the ball up well and then tried to hit it away and has turned the ball over again.
That's nicely worked by Reading. Is there something from here?
We're looking for a corner here, I'm sure.
Very well defended by Beeston.
Well out by Joe Sharp.
2 minutes left then in the first half. The Beeston Bees hanging on to that narrow but oh so important lead.
So important to be confident as you build up out of the left corner. Close, tight first time play, good possession of the ball, and intention to get out of this, very important.
Nicely worked by Reading. And well defended by Beeston, who perhaps needed a call there. Beeston almost caught.
Nice little ball over the top, and it's fallen well for Nick Park. Does he have anybody with him?
Good work there by Proctor. There wasn't it to pick out the run of Park. So into the final minute of this first half we go. Still a high ball's goal, separating the two. We talk about Highball being a free scorer. Beeston's next opponent here next week will be Holcombe with
Nick Van Der Eyck.
Nick Van Der Eyck,
yes,
who's been scoring goals for fun.
He has.
Another player who you look at his goal scoring record and you wonder just what he has to do to get an international call.
He scored goals at any age level all of his career, and he's got 11 out of Holcombe's tally of 19 so far this season, so he's having a pretty good season.
He's also a very talented hockey writer, you know.
I knew that actually, yes.
He writes a very good piece, very thoughtful young man. But we've reached half-time here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre on Remembrance Sunday. And it's the Beeston Bees who have the lead, a very narrow lead, by 1-0, a goal scored by Elliot Highball in open play. It sets us up very nicely for the second half, a very, very competitive first 35 minutes. I'm sure more to come in the second half. So Reading stride off towards the dressing room to hear the words of their coach Jason Lee and Danny Newcombe, and Beeston will be doing the same shortly. So we'll be back with all the second half action for you after this. Beeston trying to keep the tempo high.
Reading cutting off the lines of play very, very well indeed. This is very dangerous.
Problems here. Edge one's come out and he's missed it, but the whistle's gone. I think it was a little.
Countries why it's very difficult anyway to deal with the water supplies necessary.
Not in Beeston.
Not at Beeston.
Not today anyway. It'd be quite a problem, I think, for the industry to come up with a surface that allows the skills that we've come to enjoy to be played on a surface.
Thank you all the way.
Yes, I suspect not. It had little to commend it, I have to say, that particular pass. Now Reading trying the luck down the left-hand side, firing one into the mix.
I think that's hit a foot. Yeah,
it has hit a foot. Absolutely spot on.
Not normally. That's why I've just noticed
Well,
it.
it has
'cause
more
he
impact.
He normally just
If you're always shouting, I
prowls.
never think it has much of an impact,
That's
does it?
right.
Now, this is more like it for Beeston on the left-hand side. Ball pulled across and straight through, and it's found a way back into the net.
I think
And
it's
Beeston
Elliot
have the
Hyde.
When you succeed,
We succeed.
so we listen.
We tailor. And we invest in you.
We are innovators.
We deliver results,
And world-class service.
We are always developing you.
learning and growing.
And getting better at what we do.
Supporting your business.
We make technology effortless.
And more than just a means to an end.
We're the team who serve.
And advise you.
All to help you achieve.
And surpass your goals.
We're super.
We're honest.
And go the extra mile.
We're winners.
And team players.
And together,
We're the managed service provider.
We're Air IT.
We're Air IT.
we're Air IT.
You're number one for IT and comms.
I played at the highest level for Holland since I was 17. First you start as a talented little girl and just go and play, and now you really have to carry the team. A lot of the media, they always write things about you, but it's not important. I know what I can do, and the people that I really care about, they always believed in me. And I've always been a fighter. Even when you think you can't go anymore, you just keep on going because of your team. My position in the field is important, but without the others, I'm a no one. Speed is very important. There isn't room for error, actually. It's just me, opponents, and my teammates. You have to give it your all, no mercy. Every competition we play, you just want to win. When you step on the podium, it's just the best feeling in the world. It is hard to dare and dream about winning, but we know if we play well, we can beat anyone.
Hi, baby.
So welcome back to the Nottingham Hockey Centre. The two sides have emerged from their respective half-time talks. Reading in the light blue tops, trailing to the home team here, Beeston, by 1-0. That goal scored by Elliot Heibel in open play about 10 minutes before the break. Sitting alongside me, as he has been all season here in Beeston, is Steve Musson. Steve, a really entertaining first half. Not much between these two.
I don't think there is at all. I think it's a difficult one to call because Reading have had equally as many chances as Beeston. Just fortunate that Beeston managed to get that first goal, which was a good series of connections. But the only way they've been able to break through the Reading defence is by the small first-time stuff. They've not had any shots on target. They've got nothing from the crosses, which have both exited at the far side of the D each time they've tried that, and they've had the single corner. So bit to do for both teams really to get on top of this.
Yes, Reading certainly won't consider that they're in any way out of this game. They've got to start finding their scoring touch. Last week's 0-0 draw with Sevenoaks was somewhat short of their expectations, I'm sure, and they'll love to see the ball go into their opponent's net in the next 35 minutes. So it'll be Reading attacking the Beeston goal away to our right-hand side, behind which is a very busy road and a tramway as well these days. This wonderful setting. So away we go. Reading needing to come from behind to get something out of this game. But equally importantly for Beeston, what they all want to not just hold but build on as well. A second goal would give them a degree of comfort which they're probably not enjoying at the moment.
And we've said before, Nick, that the top sides get a goal and get another goal and get ahead, and they don't sort of let anybody back in, and that's not been one of Beeston's strengths. So it could be a good opportunity here to get that second goal and really settle into this game.
Yes, but as we said at the start, Steve, today's all about the 3 points. It may be one of those days when you've just got to grind it out, and an ugly win
yes,
will be better than a beautiful draw.
Yeah. Surbiton not having any problems at Holcombe by the sound of it.
4-1 the half-time score there.
Half-time, yeah.
I think that will raise a few eyebrows. I'm personally surprised at the size of that first half scoreline.
Particularly bearing in mind that Holcombe had only conceded 4 goals anyway in their first 7 fixtures. So
yes, yes, quite.
Bit of a misunderstanding there, I think, in the passes to the middle.
Beeston working it to this left-hand side. Tall figure of Ollie Willars there. On for Richard Lawrence down the left-hand side. Whistle's gone though. Sideline restart for Reading.
Back 4 clear to be seen there for Reading. Moved it around to the left-hand side quite easily. Beeston looked hard during the week at how they would deal with pressing and how they're going to press defences, because when they played Wimbledon last week, Wimbledon played with 3 at the back and 2 screens, where the inside left played as a shielding defensive player and one of the centre backs stepped forward, and Beeston found it very difficult to get any kind of pressure on Wimbledon. So they were keen to work on that just in case it was something that Reading tried.
Wimbledon's league position is perhaps a false one at the moment, and they could well be the side that upsets a few people's title challenges this year as they look to wrest the title away from Wimbledon. Disastrous or near disastrous start to the season, but finding some sort of form again now.
I think that's right, and players like Mikey Hoare setting the defence last week. Here we go.
Lovely work.
Neither a cross or a shot, I think.
I wonder whether Wimbledon were distracted by their participation in the EHL round 1.
I think so. I think it's quite obviously a big distraction, isn't it? And fell at that part of the season, and it was difficult for them to prepare. They didn't really have the team together for training much.
Lovely work on the ball. Penalised by the umpire there. Might have been a stick obstruction in there somewhere.
I think it was, yes. Yep. I don't think Reading agreed that that was the case, but it'll pretty much look like that from here.
Well, they're never going to, were they? Two good sides deserve top umpires. They've certainly got them in Lee Barron and Dan Barstow.
They seem to be controlling things pretty well today, I think. There's not been too many issues. Not that there ever should be, Nick, but...
No, but there's a lot at stake here.
Yes.
Particularly in such a tight game as this. Lovely approach work there.
I think in similar fashion, I think that
yes,
there was
exactly.
an obstruction there as well.
Well, perhaps Reading disagree with that one as well.
Yes.
Slightly less vehemently. What the players want, of course, is, and what they're getting is consistency. You and I are sitting in the easiest place to commentate from, Steve, and we don't have the need to blow a whistle either. This is a good run. Oh, it's a shocking pass at the end of it. So promising.
I always look at the trigger point for that kind of a counter-attack. That was a very obvious inside pass across the Reading player's reverse stick, and it was so easy to pick up for the Reading player, and look at where it nearly got to. So that trigger point is so important. The players have got to be very careful about the passes that they make.
Reading working very hard at the
Very
start
hard,
of this second half. Keen to get back on terms as quickly as they can. Not leave it till the final stages. Oh, making a bit of a nonsense of this, so at the back.
Keep that pressure on, lads.
Well, that's calm. Calm and collected in the end there. Still not clear though. Beeston coming back into the circle.
As in the first half, Reading have defended that well in the end.
We've been an awkward moment there for the defender as he felt his feet going from underneath him, just regained his balance and his position in time.
Bit of a Bambi moment, I think they call it. Another missed pass.
Ball fired across. Nobody there. Sideline ball here for Reading.
Just a little bit more pressure from Beeston on the Reading defenders at the moment. Leading to a little bit more possession as well.
Ollie Willars, very well judged aerial ball down the touchline, but Reading have coped with it well here. Big clash there, leaves Jack Clay on the ground. Brentherton leaves it this time. It'll be a Miller for Reading. Plays it right back into his own half of the field.
Another missed pass from Reading as well.
These unforced errors are really starting to hurt both sides, but particularly Reading at the moment, who seem to have great difficulty in putting 2 or 3 passes together consecutively. Plenty of time, no need for the force issue yet. They're still very much in this one, trailing by just that single high ball goal.
Beeston's enthusiasm to make these connecting passes, sometimes they take it on a bit too soon, and I think maybe in that situation a moment ago Chris Proctor could have kept the ball for himself a little bit longer. Making the right judgments, it's a key part of a player's thinking really. Passing, keeping the ball, making the right connections at the right time.
Beeston have stolen it in the
Proctor
midfield.
again, right.
Come off the Reading foot, so it'll be a free hit here for Beeston again, edging closer towards that Reading circle.
Bit of space for Stephen Lawrence here.
Ollie Willars trying to find a way through, takes the free hit quickly to himself. Tries to draw a foul at the defender who kept his concentration, his stick low. Took the ball well. Now one for Connor Roberts to run after. Beeston in control of the situation again though.
There we go.
Working the ball clear.
Just heard it's now 5-1 to Surbiton, Nick, so they're running away with it.
That pigeon must be exhausted. Do you think it's the same one? Might be a different one.
Yes.
Awkward one for the defender to take, and it must have come up off a defender's stick. Yes, the umpire's given that as a penalty corner.
Yeah.
Let's watch it again here.
restart.
Quick thinking. Yeah, up off the defender's stick. Reading pointing to the spot outside the circle, but Lee Barron firmly of the opinion that that's worth a penalty corner.
Well, they didn't use Elliot Tybal on the first corner, the one and only corner that Beeston have had. So I'll just see if they do it this time.
They might have regretted it with the shot going wide, but
yes, yeah.
See what they've got up their sleeves this time. Again, high ball on the nearer castle to the camera. Again, there's that late adjustment, but it has come for high ball this time. Whips it in, and the defender
Rearward corner
puts it away, but rear-warded corner. Joshua Brentherton there guarding the left-hand post.
He's done well there because that was travelling a bit, I think, really. I think
again, very well placed.
Yeah, nearly got the stick on it.
So Beeston set themselves again. Different routine this time. Making space for the shots. And again, it's fired wide. Well, none of this will be helping the Beeston bench of Stephen Wood, Mark Wadsley and James McBlain feeling any sense of comfort. 1-0 is a very squeaky bum time, as somebody once called it. Although I'm sure they would take that as a result with still plenty of time to go. Very nervous time to be playing out there. Beeston's ball right on the edge of the circle now. Not sure they'd taken the free hit. Reading.
James Aubrey feels that the defenders closed him from that position, which he shouldn't do, and that it should be a corner, but Dan Boss has not seen it that way.
Not an umpire who gets excited about such things, Dan Barstow. Tends to see the big picture.
Bit of pressure from Beeston building here. They need to turn this into something positive.
Pulling the ball out again, fired into a crowded circle. Looking for a deflection. There was one there, but it came off a defender's stick, so it'll just be a long corner. It's Beeston's best spell for some time. Good turn in the circle, still not clear.
Opportunity for Chris Proctor there, but he's missed that. He's just not got hold of that at all.
Yes, Proctor there, swinging his stick in frustration, his own inability to put that one between the posts.
Back on the attack again.
Willard's a growing influence down the left-hand side for Beeston.
Yes, they've got Ollie Willard's playing very high up the pitch, which helps with the pressure, but as long as they don't turn the ball over unnecessarily.
Like that, you mean?
Yes.
Neither side have put in a perfect performance. There have been too many unforced errors to please either set of coaches. But with the circumstances in the game and in the league positions as they stand at the moment, this is always going to be tense. Was well intercepted.
Miss pass again.
Reading battling through some choppy water in the midfield and continuing to do so. Good ball out to the right-hand side. Is there something for them here? Away from Kyle Marshall. Very calm bit of defending there in the end there from James Sutcliffe. Bailing Beeston out of what was becoming a problem for them. Beeston working the ball out of defence in a well rehearsed format.
That's probably too. Oh, he's got it. Richard Lawrence has done well there.
Very well done. Those long legs covering the ground quickly.
Reading very deep in defence now. It's, they must be thinking to themselves that they can get some kind of a counter-attack off this. That's very, very deep when you're a goal behind.
Yes, if they're not careful, it becomes a bit of a mindset. You just almost accept the fact you're going to lose the game. At some point, Reading need to invest a little more, surely, in attack. Good save by the keeper there, quick feet. Almost inviting Beeston to score a second goal.
So Stephen Lawrence now as the lead defender really needs to be very mindful of the possibility of a counter-attack. This sort of a situation here is quite clearly what Reading are after.
Quinton Lemaire just having a little slip on the ball there. Reading coming on.
That's not good enough. That is really not secure enough.
Or bouncing around in the circle. Calm, collected defending there. Reading defenders having to sprint after the ball here to make sure they're first to it.
That's where the pressure needs to go there. A little bit slow from Chris Proctor. He could have closed down a bit more speedily, I think, there. And again, Reading find a way out.
Good transfer pass out to that left-hand side. Beeston throwing it high. Reading player taking evasive action, trying to convince the umpire it might have been dangerous, but it was much too high for that.
Stephen Wood obviously feeling the pressure. He's shouting again.
Well, he will be, won't he? I think both sets of coaches will be earning their money today to think their way through this one. Scoreline probably a reasonable reflection of what we've seen, Steve.
I think it is. But as ever with these situations, these little moments, and here we goes another one.
This is better for Reading here.
Very close.
Long corner. Good covering by Reading. Pass dug out from a very unpromising position.
Yeah, they've got out of there again. So this is the warning signs for Beeston at the moment.
Nice transfer to the right-hand side. Reading having to recycle it. Willows powerfully in with a challenge.
You see, I would ask the question there, if that kind of a restart, reverse stick straight down the line like that is necessary. I think they need a bit more security about the build-up play.
Yes, it looked a little casual, didn't it?
Very casual. Just
always looks good if it comes off, but yes, it certainly begs the question if it doesn't. But again, Reading turning it over from a reasonable position in the midfield. But now look, Pressure can build on them again here. Beeston trying their luck down the right-hand side. Reading have got plenty of blue shirts back. Reading wanting the free hit, but play allowed to go on. Ball fired in. Reading coming out towards this near touchline, getting the whistle in their favour as well.
I sometimes wonder whether players realise quite what the score is, don't you?
Big push in the back there. I think it's the sort of game that the players will be really enjoying, though.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes, it's.
They'll be enjoying it considerably more, I think, than their coaching staff, who will be
Nice layoff
a
pass
bag of
there.
nerves.
That's a very nice pass.
Is there something here for Beeston? Shot on the turn, good save by the goalkeeper's right foot.
Good defence by Reading, but an injury.
Good early whistle there from Lee Barron, making sure the play on the ground is okay. Can't leave a player down on the floor in a crowded circle like that. Much better to get the whistle in early, as Lee Barron has done. Very fine umpire, indoors and out, particularly indoors in many ways. He's
yes, he is. Yeah,
a huge reputation indoors, one of the world's best. Both sides just wondering how the game is going to be restarted here. Looks as if we restarted with Reading's ball at the top of their circle. It's the weekend when the campaign for bringing back the bully has been launched as well.
Yes.
You and I remember the bully well, Steve, not with any great love, I'm sure.
I remember the rolling as well.
Oh, now there was a skill.
Yes.
Beeston taking it quickly into the circle. Shot comes in.
Good
Good
shot, Chris Proctor.
Good save there by Chris Wyver. Reaching up with that big left hand protector, batting it away. Beeston using the width down that right hand side.
Haven't seen any player hit the ball cleanly yet.
What, this season or just this game? The lost art, perhaps.
It's a good job these pitches are strong. There'll be divots everywhere, I think.
I read a very good article from somebody the other day about the lost art of the push pass.
Yes.
It was the self-pass bloggers team who came up with that one. Very well written. Yes, we speak a lot about the new exciting skills, 3D skills, etc. But we shouldn't forget the importance of the ability to hit, trap, and push a pass as well.
Absolutely. Do you remember the Hockey Association Roses Awards? Where
I do indeed. It's only yesterday.
Get your badges for doing very basic things.
Yeah. I have to say they were the bedrock of much of my teaching career. They were dull as ditch water.
They were.
They really were, but they were important drills to get into youngsters. Nothing's really changed. Apart from the fact you probably get a virtual reality badge nowadays rather than the old cloth ones.
But 3D skills were a natural part of the game on grass, Nick.
They were. Yeah, they were. We've seen a few hoppy ones today, but nothing like the good old days. Fired out to that left-hand side as Reading come in search of an equaliser. He wouldn't rule one out.
Dangerous.
Beeston really need to wake themselves here.
They do.
Slightly dreamy performance from them, particularly in this second half. They won't be feeling any comfort as we go towards the last 10 minutes of the game. It'd be ironic if they were caught out by a late equaliser. It would be somewhat against run of play, but it's not something you can rule out.
Well, the natural tendency of games like this is that the Reading will have this phase in towards the end of the game where there's nothing to lose, and there'll be probably more counter-attacks than there have been.
And of course, if the forward line and the offensive players for Beeston can't put this game into a position of safety, then it's just adding pressure on pressure to the defenders, who've had a pretty easy time of things for the first hour here at the Nottingham Hockey Centre. They might need to earn their money in the last 10 minutes here.
Useful ball, nice position for Ollie Willars.
Willars just spins, tries to take the ball into the circle, but crowded out there.
Wasn't going to get much success with that.
He didn't look convinced in his own mind it was going to work for him, did he? Reading just starting to show a little more intent themselves.
That's right. This is going to be. This will
quick
happen
hands.
for the next 10 minutes. I'm sure of it. There we go.
Oh, well, you called it, Steve.
Yeah, this has been building.
Well, what a sucker punch there. And Reading are back on terms. And this is now going to be a huge last 10 minutes for Beeston. Lovely approach work there coming from Lee Morton.
Good goal. Very good goal.
So it's come literally out of the blue. And Beeston pegged back to 1 goal apiece.
From a coaching point of view there, Nick, I'd be absolutely furious about that. We've been able to see that here in the commentary box for the last 5 minutes.
Yes, we have. And now the game is very much back in the balance, and you wouldn't bet against a Reading victory. Now it's them with the confidence. They've scored once, they can see no reason why they shouldn't score a second time. Now Beeston coming forward again.
Lucas Ward's turned that over in a risky place again. Trigger point is right back on Reading's D, and here we are.
Max Heaver, the goal scorer for Reading. But it was Lee Morton's quick hands and quick thinking down the middle that created the opportunity.
A big tendency from Beeston to try and put this right now, and that again could give space for Reading.
Well, for all their possession in the game, Beeston haven't carved out too many goal-scoring opportunities.
No,
and they've turned the ball over almost as often as their opponents have done today. And that's costing them at the moment. Coming up to 6 minutes.
Angle of that pass was all wrong for Richard Lawrence. He was leading in the wrong direction, facing the wrong way.
Mistake by Reading. Beeston with about 6 minutes to put things right here. think the Bees will look to change anything, Steve, in these last few minutes to
Well, I think
try
I'm
and get the
absolutely
extra
sure
points.
that Stephen Wood and Mark Wadsley will want to go for the win. They won't protect the draw by any stretch of the imagination, so they might stick a fourth player up high just to see if they can create something. But more importantly, I think they'll look to win a corner.
Do you see that as their best chance?
I think probably it is, because Reading are committed to the defence now. There's a lot of players in the D from Reading's point of view.
A lot of feet to be found.
But it's those sorts of passes which aren't going to work for Beeston. There's no way that anybody's going to get on the end of that.
Reading working the ball out to this near side.
Well done, Gareth Griffiths.
Griffiths quickly on it. Reading just starting to hang on a little bit here. Finding that their own goal has inspired the Bees into raising their interest levels in the game.
Those little positions on the right-hand side, they are tailor-made for winning a corner if you get it right.
Lee Barron just considering the decision there, then gives the long corner. Brave challenge there with a big wind-up coming from Chris Proctor. Thought you were going to take the defender off at the knees with that one.
Yes. Nothing more frustrating for a side who want to get that win, the position that Beeston are in, but they brought the trouble on themselves, I think.
They have. They've had enough possession to have put a little more daylight between themselves and their hard-working opponents.
And again, little connections there. That's relatively good build-up on that right-hand side of the D has just drifted away.
With both these sides drawing their respective games last week, you have to say another draw this weekend is not what either camp would have wanted.
No.
Although Reading on their travels would perhaps be the happier of the two, should it end up as a draw.
Yeah. Well, considering they lost twice to Beeston last year, they'll getting something out of it on their away fixture. Bit of a plus for them. But they've still got a chance to win this.
Well, one side or the other certainly has, as we've got about 2.5 minutes left in this one. Can either side get a grip on these 2 points that are at stake here?
I think there's potentially one opportunity for either side.
Beeston holding on to the ball, making sure that it's going to be them, they hope. Just need to keep their patience and keep the ball as well. Very hard, even when these pressure situations, even the most basic of skills, looks to be well nigh impossible to pull off. Reading doing their best to keep the ball live, but it's over the baseline, so Beeston can build again from the back, which they do.
They've got about a minute to go, Nick, so this,
yes, a goal
this
now
is
would
the last
certainly
chance.
be goal dust for either side. Beeston have the ball again, trying their luck down the right-hand side. Shelling one in towards the circle, bouncing around, ball's loose. That's lovely work. Very tight skills there.
Yes,
and
they have
Beeston
won
think
the
they've got a
corner.
penalty corner, and they have. And, well, you called it earlier, Steve, saying you thought the penalty corner was their best chance.
I think so, yeah.
This could be their last opportunity. Good work along the
Yes, I think
baseline.
that's right, yeah.
So Reading rather nervously pulling on that protective equipment, aware that a goal against them now would almost certainly settle the issue. You see the clock continuing to tick down.
Oh, there's the man, Elliot Hybel. He's got to concentrate on this.
Well, the whole routine has got to be absolutely A1, and my advice would be keep this one as simple as possible. Not to go for the complicated routines. Trust in Hybel? Well, we'll see. It's in the slot for Hybel. He pulls back. Oh, good save by the goalkeeper. And it's gone high in the air. It'll be a long corner.
And that's time.
And that is the end of the game. The team's shaking hands down there. They've played out a draw between them. Beeston with the early advantage through Elliot Hybel's goal. Scored 10 minutes before half time. And then in a similar position, a little later perhaps in the second half, it was Max Heaver coming in to equalise for Reading. A draw that neither side will be particularly thankful for. Beeston with that late penalty corner opportunity that the goalkeeper coped with very well. And I just wanted an Elliot Hybel special there, Steve.
Yes, we did. I think there'll be a disappointment there from Beeston's point of view, but as we said, the patterns were emerging, and sometimes you want the players to spot that just as much as the coaches.
Well, the sides shaking hands. You can see almost the visible disappointment there on the body language of some of the Beeston players. You must have thought that one was going to be a 3-point haul from today. And they'll rue the chances that perhaps they didn't put away when 1-0 up. They enjoyed a lot of possession. But Reading's defence held firm.
They did.
And in the final analysis, Beeston 1, Reading 1 is a pretty fair scoreline. Agreed, Steve?
I do agree, yes. I think because of that final phase that Reading had, I think they probably deserved the equaliser.
Well, we'll be back again with next week's fixture when Holcombe visit the Nottingham Hockey Centre. And let's hope the weather's as kind and a few more goals to enjoy in that one. Yeah. Beeston 1, Reading 1 is how it's finished here. Beeston trying to keep the tempo high.
Reading cutting off the lines of play very, very well indeed. This is very dangerous.
Problems here. Edge one's come out and he's missed it. But the whistle's gone. I think it was a little...
Countries why it's very difficult anyway to deal with the water supplies necessary.
Not in Beeston.
Not at Beeston.
Not today anyway. It'd be quite a problem, I think, for the industry to come up with a surface that allows the skills that we've come to enjoy to be played on a surface. That
thank you all the way.
Yes, I suspect not. It had little to commend it, I have to say, that particular pass. Now Reading trying the luck down the left-hand side, firing one into the mix.
I think that's hit a foot. Yeah,
it has hit a foot. Absolutely spot on.
Not normally. That's why I've just noticed.
Well, it has more impact.
Normally
if you're always shouting, I never think it has much of an impact, does
right.
it? Now this is more like it for Beeston on the left-hand side. Ball pulled across and straight through, and it's found a way back into the net.
I think it's
Beeston have the.
Do
you think it's the same one? Might be a different one.
Yes.
Awkward one for the defender to take, and it must have come up the sleeves this time. Again, Hybel on the nearer castle to the camera. Again, there's that late adjustment, but it has come for Hybel this time. Whips it in, and the defender
reward corner
puts it away, but it's Beeston's best spell for some time. Good turn in the circle, still not clear.
Opportunity for Chris Proctor there, but he's missed that. He's just not got hold of that at all.
Yes, Proctor there. Now there was a skill. Beeston taking it quickly into the circle. Shot comes in.
Good shot.
Work for him, did he? Reading just starting to show a little more
They
intent
are,
themselves.
That's right. This is going to be.
Lovely
This will
quick
happen for the
hands.
next 10 minutes. I'm sure of it. There we go.
Oh, well, you called it, Steve.
Yeah, this has been building.
Well, what a sucker punch there.
Hi, baby.